all of our families today. We are so excited. More than 100 families here today. And, we have a lot of wonderful
They can't see me. They
faces
can hear
that
them,
are
but they can't see me now.
here. Really,
It's not
this is an
connected, huh?
introduction session to welcome you. And I know some of you already have students in SAUSD, but we really do want to welcome you to Santa Ana Unified. We're excited to have you with us and to have you trust us with your students. First of all, I do want to go briefly over what is family and community engagement. SAUSD is super unique in that we have a family and community engagement department in the school district. And essentially what we really want to do for all of you is to create welcoming environments at our school campuses. And within each school campus, you'll find a wellness center. This year, there's been a little bit of shifts in our wellness centers, but next year, we hope to invite all of you to come out to our school sites and visit one of your wellness centers. And this space is really for you, for us to come together, families, parents, staff, community stakeholders, and collaborate together because we know how important it is for us to really work together to communicate, to build relationships, so that we can make sure that we can all support the students. And as parents, we know that you've been our students' first teachers, and now you're handing them over to us. So we want to make sure that that handover is successful and that we really understand your students as much as you do, and we can best support them. Next slide, please. Erika, thank you. So we have here wonderful face liaisons, and I know they're gonna all briefly introduce themselves right now. And the role of our face liaisons, and you'll actually find one of our wonderful staff at your school sites, is really to be there to provide that outreach, and that outreach in connecting with you and building relationships, at the school sites. They're really your point of contact for a lot of different things at your school sites. And what they really want to do is be able to build that relationship and trust with you so we can best understand how to help you support and navigate through all of the school systems. We know in our school systems, there's a lot of different staff and a lot of different people. And you got your teachers and you got your counselors and you got your nurses. So we want to make sure to successfully connect you to the most appropriate person who can then support you and your students' needs. So that's what our navigators are here, or your face liaisons are here for, to be a navigator, to them being able to connect you, one, to outreach opportunities, which a lot of you may have known, or have already seen that a lot of our face liaisons do a lot of wonderful work around being able to be a part of some of the resource distribution at your school sites as it relates to vaccines, food distributions, CalOptima, and a lot of different information that we hand out in terms of that outreach opportunity. But most importantly, we want to be here as your partners in this work. And this presentation is actually a wonderful opportunity to start building our capacity, and we can learn about how to best support our students. Next slide, please, Erika. And why is this so important? Well, first of all, congratulations to all of you who made it here today. We are so proud of you and we're so excited to have you here. And the reason why we are so excited is because the research has actually shown throughout the United States that parents that are engaged, that really build those strong relationships at their school sites, that are present, that are supporting their students at home, that are setting those high expectations, students' grades actually go up. Students attend school more regularly, students are more likely to enroll in higher level programs, and students are more excited and positive about school and learning. So all in all, we're really here to be able to build that relationship with you, ultimately so that your students can succeed. And we know that this partnership is going to help all of us being able to work together in support of our students, and your children, which we're so excited are starting with us in the school district. So that will be it for my end. Thank you so much. And, my name is Elisa Briseño, and I am the FACE coordinator, and I'm very happy to have all of you here today.
Thank you, Elisa. Thank you so much. So today I'm going to be presenting the team. So we have Erika Benavides, she's at Franklin Elementary. Norma Plasencia, she's at Santiago Elementary. Laura Uruza, she's at Martin Elementary. Claudia Martinez, she's at Greenville Fundamental. Jocelyn Torres, she's at Lincoln Elementary. Priscila Leal, she's at King Elementary. Melissa Scott at Adams Elementary. Irlanda Tapia at Jefferson Elementary. Raul Ramirez at Kennedy Elementary. And then we have Daisy Aldana at Montevista Elementary, Silvia Ramirez at Edison, Leslie Mondragon at Garfield, and Mirka Garcia at Jackson, and myself, Vanessa Nájera at Thorpe. So thank you guys for being here again. I'm gonna go over some packets really quick that are gonna be discussed in this presentation. So we did ask parents to pick up packets. If you did, that's great. And if you weren't able to, we still have some, and you guys can request that to your FACE liaison or your school. So the first packet that we're gonna go over is the activity cards. So whenever your FACE liaison refers to activity card packet, this is what they mean. And then the second packet is the Readiness activity packet, which looks like this. And they're going to kind of go back and forth and just give you some presentations on packets. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, we have the Spanish version. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that.
Just really quickly, for those that did pick up the packets, these packets are not homework packets. It's just a guidance. So these you can do at home. You're not required to turn them in. This is just so that you guys can have an idea of things that you can do at home during the summer.
All right, Raul.
Thank you. Again, Raul Ramirez. I'm the liaison at Kennedy Elementary School. One of the things that first we need to do, of course, is turn in your registration packet at your local school. Either if you're attending TK or Kinder, it's very important to contact your school and submit your Kinder registration packet, TK or Kinder registration. Now, how old to register for TK and Kinder? Again, you must understand there's two different type of programs. TK, of course, is if your child is born between September 2nd, 2017, and between February 2nd, 2018. For Kinder, if your child is born between September 2nd, 2016, and September 1st, 2017. So depending on your child's date of birth, you'll be able to determine if it's either a child going to TK or going to Kinder. Now, in regard to what documentation you will need to turn in with your TK Kinder registration packet, you will need a copy of a birth certificate, your copy of immunization record, and of course, your emergency contact info, which definitely we do need. And then also parenting plans, for example, like an IEP, if your child is participating in special ed, or other legal documents related to custody or guardianship. Thank you.
So now we're going to talk a little bit about what does TK and Kinder Readiness mean. So Kinder Readiness is a term that we use to talk about the preparation leading up to a child's first year in kindergarten, or in this case, TK as well. There is not a specific set of developmental standards or milestones a child must meet to be able to attend kindergarten. And in kindergarten, we meet children where they are at, developmentally, socially, emotionally, and physically as well. Who needs to be ready for TK and Kinder? So first of all, the school needs to be ready. Children in ready schools are led by skilled teachers who recognize, reinforce, and extend children's strengths and are also sensitive to cultural values and individual differences. So at our schools in Santa Ana, we have teachers who are prepared and experienced working with students from all backgrounds, whether that's socioeconomic, or sometimes we have students from immigrant backgrounds, whether their parents are immigrants or they themselves sometimes are immigrants. And we also have a population of students who speaks other languages as their first language besides English. So our schools and teachers are prepared to serve students in all different backgrounds. The second thing we want to talk about is ready children. So a ready child is prepared socially, personally, physically, and intellectually. And today that's what we're going to talk about during this presentation, how you as parents and family members can prepare your little one for kinder or transitional kinder. Next year, in a couple months, they're going to be starting in August. So we're going to give you some tips and information about what you can do in order to prepare your children to be ready for their first day of school. And then finally, touching a little bit similar to what I just talked about, Ready Family is a family who has adults who understand that they are the most important people in the child's life and take responsibility for the child's school readiness through direct, frequent, and positive involvement and interest in the child. So just by being here today at this workshop, you guys are already on the right path to being involved in your child's education. So congratulations to all of you for being here today, or for those who are watching the recording.
Yay, I was going to say felicidades in Spanish. Thank you all for being here. As Anna mentioned, you know, it's really important for families to be ready, because when a parent is ready, the student is going to be ready. So again, kudos to you for joining us. Thank you for being an active participant in your students' education. So I'm going to touch briefly on 4 important things to make sure we get you parents ready to prepare your students, right? So the first topic that we're going to kind of touch on is the importance of routines. I'm sure we all understand the importance of routines as adults, but they're especially critical for our little ones, right? Routines really help us have structure in the home, which in turn helps children feel safe and secure. So this is actually based on research. So if we build proper routines within our home, it'll bring structure, which really will provide that safety feeling that our children need, right? So it's really important to start developing a routine. When students have that structure at the home, they feel really they're able to control themselves, their emotions, their reactions. And it also helps develop creativity and self-expression. So that's really, really important to start developing a routine within the summer or a few weeks before your student starts kinder. One thing, in my packet's in Spanish, but it's the same colors. So if you look at this packet here, you're gonna go towards the back. And you're going to actually see kind of a fun way to get our kiddos into setting up their own routine. So you kind of cut those, or have your students cut those out with you, and you guys get to paste them and schedule a routine that's going to work for you all. And again, a routine that's going to help you prepare your student for kinder. So it's a fun activity that your student can do with you, and the important factor is to make sure to include them in the process, right? Because they'll own it. They'll say, this is my routine. So it's really, really important that you incorporate them in this fun activity. The second thing we want to talk about is developing good eating habits. Anything we put in our bodies impact us, right? Impact our emotional, physical, and mental state, right? If we put a bunch of junk food in our bodies, we're gonna feel a little crash after. Same thing with kiddos, right? It's really important to start developing those good eating habits with our kids, and be purposeful when we restock the shelves, go grocery shopping. We definitely want to pick up some of those brain foods, right? That we call brain foods, such as oatmeal, nuts, I'm trying to think here, and also dark chocolate. That's a good brain food. It's also important to start exposing our kiddos to different types of food. Please just, you know, keep in mind that your student is going to be exposed to fruits, vegetables, and other healthy foods within our schools. So we definitely want you to explore that. In that same packet that I showed you, we also have this one here, Peg and Cat. It's kind of like a cute little activity you can do with the kiddos, and see what food you could expose them to, and see if they like it. And also want to make sure they don't have any allergic reactions to certain type of foods, right? So during the summer, let's work on exposing our kiddos to different types of food. And also my coworker will also be touching on this, but the importance of making sure that you feed them at times that are similar to the time that they're going to be fed at school. Okay, so the next one is screen time. Thumb, thumb, thumb. Sorry. This one is interesting, you know, I mean, everything is done on a computer screen. Thankfully not learning anymore, but everything's done in a computer screen. We watch TV, we play games on our phones, but it is recommended that kids between 2 and 5 watch and play for an hour a day. I know some of you are looking at me funny right now, but it's doable. We could do it. This doesn't include those interactive fun games that are helpful and educational for our students. So, you know, if you're watching any educative TV shows or games, there's a lot of applications that are I can't think of the word, educative, I'm sorry. So make sure that you set that time for that as well. And also a lot of playtime. Kiddos need a lot of playtime, so schedule those as well. The last one, which Elisa touched on, I think is the most important one, right? Parent involvement. And again, thank you for being here. It shows first step towards, you know, really helping your student academically. But basically what we really want to stress with parent involvement is the importance that learning does not only happen at school, right? If we really try to leave learning to happen at school, our students probably won't actually end up meeting their academic goals by the end of the year, right? So this is where you come in. This is where your involvement and what you do at home is really, really important for them to reach those goals. As mentioned earlier, you know, a ready family understands that they are the most important people in their child's lives, right? And you guys play a vital role in making sure that you guys reach, your student reaches their academic goals. So one thing is that, again, I'm mentioning academic goals. Your student from kinder on up, they're going to have these academic goals that they need to reach by the end of the year. Obviously, the teacher and the school is going to help and support your student in making sure that they reach that goal, that academic goal. But something that I definitely want to stress is that us as parents, we share in that responsibility to make sure our student is reaching those academic goals. I'm going to repeat this because this is something we really want to make sure we stress, is that us as parents share the responsibility of making sure our students reach their academic goals. And again, that happens everywhere. Learning doesn't stop at school. It happens at home. It happens at the park. It happens at the grocery store when we're picking out food and counting them or pointing out different shapes, or learning can happen anywhere. And so your role is vital in that. Elisa shared some statistics, some studies. Over 40 years of research has shown that your involvement is critical in your students' academic success. So we want to make sure that we support you in that, and that's part of our role, is to support you in supporting your student. Okay, all right, we'll go ahead and pass it on to the next presenter.
Alrighty, hi everybody. My name is Jocelyn Torres and I'm from Lincoln Elementary, and we're going to be going over self-help skills. So as children grow, it's important to be able to let them complete tasks on their own so that we can encourage them to be independent. And now sometimes allowing them to be independent can be messy and it can take a lot of patience, but this allows children to build skills and develop confidence. So there's 4 main types of self-help skills. The first is self-feeding. The second is self-dressing and grooming. The third is hygiene and toileting. And the fourth is helping with chores. Now, it's very important that they learn how to self-dress and groom as well as toileting, because here at school, teachers are not allowed to help them with toileting or with like dressing themselves. Like if they go in their pants and then they need to get dressed or they need a change of clothes, they need to be able to do that on their own. So we really encourage you to try and work with your children and make sure that they're able to do that before they enter TK and kinder. And you can find ways to practice self-help skills in the packet that we gave out. So it looks, one of them looks like this. It's the yellow one, or it just says my kindergarten readiness activity. I believe that there's an activity called choosing chores with Daniel Tiger. And there's a second one that's called my daily routine, where they can build their own routine. And then I believe in the second packet, there's also a page that's called building self-confidence. There's another one called choosing chores, and there's a third one about clothing and toileting. So when children practice these self-help skills, like feeding and dressing themselves, cleaning up after themselves, they also practice their large and small motor skills, which we'll be discussing in the following slide with our liaison, Leslie from Garfield Elementary.
Thank you. So in this section, we will learn about fine motor skills, and that refers to the coordination between your child's small muscles. That's their hands, their wrists, their fingers, in addition with, their hand-eye coordination. This allows functions such as typing, grasping objects, fastening clothes, which they will all be doing during TK and kinder, but it also involves strength, control, and mobility. Those are like 3 important functions. But yeah, your child will develop these skills on a daily basis, whether it's during playtime with activities that involve grasping, holding, or applying pressure. This will help them grip stuff, so when they get to class, they're able to either tie their shoes, button their clothes, use scissors, even hold a pencil, write their first name, turn pages from a book, and even the small things like putting a straw into a juice box, right? So very becoming self-sufficient for themselves in the class is very important that they do get those muscles built. Remember that to develop these fine motor skills, you don't have to do anything fancy or buy expensive toys. Most children can practice and improve their fine motor skills through play, normal everyday actions, right? So you as a parent could have them help you in the kitchen, whether it's mixing a bowl of cookie dough, actually having them playing with the dough makes those muscles in their hands strong, so they're able to do those abilities when they get to kinder. Even setting the table, right? Or serving a glass of milk, that actually takes a lot for us. It might seem simple, but it's a great ability for them to do, because it's that eye-hand coordination, holding the glass, holding the milk. They really strengthen their muscles and being able to visualize where everything they're putting. That's good, but also you could do fun games at home, make them really interactive. I know moms, some of you must have tweezers, use those. Believe it or not, tweezers are great for children to be more, they work their muscles. So make it a fun game. Say, hey, how many cotton balls can you pick up in 15 seconds with my tweezers? Make it interactive, make it fun for them, and that will be a great thing for their muscles. But other things that you could do is painting. Finger painting is a great way that they are interactive and they get that mobility. Also making figures out of dough. Play-Doh, kids love Play-Doh, so it's a win-win situation, right? So definitely take advantage of that. Or even simply putting a rubber band over a cup. So making them move their hands. It's like when you go to the gym, right? You use resistance bands. So the elastic band essentially is like a resistance band, and it will get them to become more strong within their hands, so they could do their other abilities. But in your packet, let me see if it's, no, let me turn this off. In this packet in this packet, this is such a great packet. You actually, if you go under the physical motor skills, you'll find so many activities that you can do at home for free. So one that I really like is the cutting exercise. So once they accomplish cutting, you could check it off. It's more like a milestone, right? You keep track of their progress. So you could actually scan the QR code and it will give you images where your student could cut out the figures, and that will help them greatly. You want to add to their learning, right? As soon as they cut lines, they're not done. You got to add to their strengths. So another thing that is great for them is this activity, the lace card. You could scan it and it tells you how to do a lace card at home. And that way they practice on how to tie a shoe, you know, looping the hole, looping it out, looping it in. That really strengthens their physical motor skills. So really take advantage of this packet because again, you could track the progress of their milestones and it keeps growing and teaching them. So really take advantage of this packet because it shows you 3 ways on how to do it with activities at home. But now my colleague Laura will go over the large motor skills.
Okay, so hi everyone. So what are gross motor skills? So basically these are the physical skills and they require whole body movement, which involve the large muscles of the body to basically perform the everyday functions such as standing, sitting upright. It also includes the hand coordination skills such as ball skills such as throwing, catching, kicking. It includes bouncing, hopping, jumping, walking, running, if you can walk in a straight line forward and backward, bouncing on a dominant foot for about 10 seconds. It also includes performing the activities across the midline of the body. For example, the right hand touching the left arm and the left elbow touching the right knee. Now, why are they important? They're important because they basically enable the children to perform the everyday functions, right? Such as those playground skills when they go out to recess, when they're climbing, when they're catching again, when they're throwing, when they're hitting a ball with a bat. And these are basically crucial for like those everyday self skills, like dressing, where they need to be able to stand on one leg, to put on the pant leg without falling over, putting on those socks. And it's perfectly normal for them not to grasp all of these skills yet. So basically with practice, it will get a lot better.
Thank you, Laura. So now we're going to talk about social and emotional skills. So something that's super important, and I think sometimes we forget, right, in our day-to-day, is that remembering children aren't born knowing how to manage their emotions. They're not born knowing how to get along with others or how to cope with stress, right? And since you are all here, this means you're a parent. I'm sure you've had a moment, maybe at the grocery store or at a party, where your kiddo is throwing a tantrum, right? Or they're just having a moment. So, but it's important to recognize that emotions are important, right? And that while they are a stressful part of life, it's normal. And so in order to develop these skills that help cope with these challenges, it's important to review some social and emotional skills, not review, but to practice to prepare them for kinder. And so one way that we can help them to cope with these challenges that they are going to be presented with is by trying new things now. Earlier, Erika and I believe Jocelyn shared about how in the packet there are tips on how we can review, right? How to teach cooperation, how to share chores, right? And so when we do this at home, this will help them when they are in school, because it's not the easiest transition if they've never been in school before. And so the earlier we start, the better prepared they will be on day 1 in August. I think it's 12th. And another way we can prepare them is by teaching them how to wait and listen while others talk. And one of the best ways that we can do this is by modeling, right? So kids often, they observe what we do. And so if we model this behavior, they can pick up from it. But also when we are modeling this behavior, we can sort of talk them through it, right? Not just expect them to sort of take away what we want them to, but really show them like, hey, well, right now we are going to listen because X, Y, and Z, right? And then you can also do this when you're reading books, right? When you're doing story time before bed, reading a new story, you can take a pause and ask your student or your child what they observed, right? Between the interaction between these two characters. So just, make any regular day, any regular moment, a teaching moment. And also this goes the same with teaching them how to play cooperatively with others. It's very important that they start building these relationship skills at home, so that when they are in the classroom, they're not overwhelmed with being, with 12 to 20 other students. And so they don't necessarily have to interact with other kiddos to do this, but you can do this at home with just you and them, right? Teaching, sharing a chore, or inviting them to help you with a task, and just being very communicative all the way through. And also working with within small groups and working independently is very important. So you can give them a task to complete on their own, or you can, give them a shared responsibility just to start practicing the skill. And also, probably one of the most difficult days when dropping off your kiddo on their first day of school is that separation anxiety, right? And so if they're used to being with you all the time, or if you foresee that they might struggle with that, you can coordinate, or one tip that you can do is coordinate like a play date with a relative or with a neighbor, and you can start in increments. See how they do 10 minutes alone, right? And always remind them, like, always tell them what they're doing. Like, you're gonna play with John right now, and I'm gonna be back in 10 minutes to pick you up, right? And then slowly just increase those increments so that they're okay when you have to step out. And hopefully that'll make for a smooth transition when they do attend school. And also sharing and taking turns. So again, we just mentioned earlier, right? Those relationship skills are very important. And one way you can incorporate this into your chores is, for example, let's say you're doing the dishes. Maybe, it can be a shared responsibility where they hand you a dish and then you do the dishwashing and so forth. And also, we did talk about emotions, right? So reasonably managing their emotions. And, when we work with all these social and emotional skills, studies show that students tend to have a more positive attitude. Hopefully this will translate also to having a more positive attitude and outlook towards school. And in the long run, this will also, it usually makes for better grades, right? Because there are fewer interruptions in the classroom and they can focus more on their studies, then there's not so much time put into discipline. And so it's just really important to try to incorporate that in your day-to-day, just modeling this behavior, having these continued conversations, not just one time, right? But whenever you can incorporate it into your conversation, it's very important. And so now Silvia is going to take over.
Before we continue with the presentation, just want to take a breather. It's a lot of information that we're kind of throwing out at you. We are going to save the majority of our questions towards the end, but I do kind of want to give a break and just see if there are anything we've covered so far that if we'll give a chance for 2 questions. If there are 2 questions, we can go ahead and answer them now. If there are no questions, we will proceed.
Sorry,
okay.
I'm going to be the one.
No,
I just had a question about that toileting rule in an emergency situation. So there's not going to be anyone to help, like if your child has an accident or throws up, or like there's no sort of assistance for your child. They're just kind of, stop, baby. I just wanted to kind of clarify that.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Like if they throw up or anything like that, they're going to be there. Our only thing is teachers have to be really careful when unbuttoning, unzipping clothing. So that's where it becomes a little tricky, and that's something that our teachers can't necessarily do. But great question. Yes, of course they're going to be cared for.
Okay, so as long as the independence factor of that is just making sure our child can unbutton, unzip on their own, but they're not left to their own devices, like sent along to. Okay, just making sure.
And I just want to make sure.
That was alarming.
Yes, and just to give you guys an example, we do have a lot of our little ones, TK kinders, who will come to the office with an accident. Maybe they threw up, and what ends up happening is that we will be able to, at times, be able to provide the student with either new pants or a new shirt or something like that, and they go to the nurse's office and they can go in there and change. But that's what the independence is recommended, because they do have to go in there by themselves and pull down pants, change the pants, and all that stuff. So we just want to make sure that we are providing our children with a little bit more of independence, so they know how to do this by themselves in the bathroom, of course, with the supervision of the nurse that will be standing right outside.
Wonderful. Thank you for that clarification. Nice to see you, Mirka.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions? I'm trying to see really quickly in the chat.
I do have a question. I'm sorry. I have a question real quickly. Going off with the toileting, do they require extra clothing for kindergarten, or is that not a thing? Like extra clothes just in case of an accident?
Oh,
I can
it
answer
is
that.
okay.
Mirka?
Yeah, what we have noticed is if your student does sometimes find themselves that they have more accidents, we do recommend that the parents send some clothes to the nurse's office, and the nurse usually will keep a set of clothes for them there, just in case if they're have not mastered those skills yet, and they do have accidents at some times. We just want to make sure we have comfortable clothes for our students to be provided. Like here at the Wellness Center, I know a lot of our liaisons like me have extra clothes for our kiddos that do have those accidents, and we're more than happy to provide them with those clothes. But sometimes maybe we don't have the right clothes to fit them. Maybe it's a little bit too big, maybe it's a little bit too small. So we do recommend parents, if you do find that your student does have accidents, maybe a little bit more frequently, that you send them with a little bit extra clothes, not even in the backpack, to the nurse's office with their name on it, and they will keep them there for safekeeping should an accident happen.
Great. All right, we're going to go ahead and continue with the presentation. I know there were a lot of questions in regards to TK Kinder, and we are trying to get one of our administrators from the elementary school sites to answer those questions. But I know there was another question, dual immersion as well. And so something that was actually answered by an admin, a principal at the previous meeting in regards to dual immersion, 90% of what the student will be learning in TK Kinder in a dual immersion school is in Spanish. Is that correct, Mr. Merkel? I think I see you there.
Yes, how you doing? Nice to see you, Erica. Yeah, in our dual program, it's a wonderful program, and it's kind of built on the model where it's like 90-10 in kinder, and every year the English gets a little bit more. We kind of release it, so when they're in fifth grade, it's like 50-50.
Great. And there were quite a few questions, Mr. Merkel, in regards to the difference in curriculum between TK and kinder.
Well,
if you can.
It's a completely different curriculum, and TK is really geared towards getting students ready for school and building their capacity in that way. It is academic, don't get me wrong, but that's why it's about socialization. It's about holding a pencil, sitting down, following a routine, socializing. But again, it's also academic. It's not that they don't skip on that, but that's why the district has invested. Sorry, I'm so at the background. That's why the district has invested so much money in having a ratio of 12-1, because we know that our students can really achieve a lot when they have the proper structure.
Awesome, great. And just for clarity's sake, a lot of them were asking what the difference was. It's basically, if they're in TK now, they'll be in kinder next year, correct?
Think of it like this: it's a 2-year program.
Okay.
It starts from TK to K. In some cases, parents, if the teacher and the parents feel it's like a promotion, it's like skipping a grade, they could go to first grade. But the second year, they call it CK. Again, it's an advanced curriculum because they know the students have had a year. And so most of the kids, you can tell in first grade, the kids that were in CK versus versus just were in K, because they really do well.
Great. Thank you so much. Now we got parents asking, where are the dual immersion schools? So you're recruiting our kiddos, Mr. Merkel. Now they want to be in a dual immersion.
You guys got to come to Jefferson. That's really,
oh gosh,
we got it all right there. But I know also it's Monroe, it's King, and Pio Pico. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So there are a lot of there's a number of dual immersion schools in our district. So I won't be promoting them anymore.
But if they want to call and get more information, even we could point you to the closer school. So if you want to give us a call, we love our program. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and continue with the presentation. Thank you so much for sharing.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I have a question. The Head Start teacher says that if we don't put her in TK, we can keep her in Head Start. Is that correct too? Or would you recommend that, or would you go against it?
you can definitely keep them in Head Start if that's what you prefer. It is a different department. It is a different organization, I believe, right? If someone can answer that. If you enroll them in TK, they'll actually be part of the school of SAUSD. So there is a difference. Anyone else want to
One
jump
is
in?
state, and then the other one would be Santa Ana Unified School District. So that's the difference.
Great, thank you.
Head Start, what it is they're mixed with 3 to 5 year olds, and with TK it's just children that are 4 or 5. And Head Start is different in their curriculum. They're very big on social emotional and getting them ready to be prepared for kinder, and they teach them how to be independent, but they have a lot of more assistance than they would be having in TK. For example, Head Start, they still take the children to the restroom and help them with that. In TK, that's something that's not done because they are in a kindergarten classroom setting. So that's a little bit, so it is up to you. It's ultimately your choice and whatever you feel your child is ready for and more comfortable with. But TK is an option as well as Head Start. So either or is, I think it just depends on the child and whether you think your child is ready to be in that TK setting.
I'm sorry, but as a Head Start teacher, I'm sorry, we don't help them with the restroom. We're not allowed. That's just one thing. I'm sorry.
Well, yes, obviously you're not pulling down the pants, but you are there in the restrooms at the door, making sure that they're being safe. And with TK, they don't do that. The restrooms are outside. Head Start has everything inside the classroom for the most part.
All right, we're gonna go ahead. I'm so sorry. Any other questions? We'll hold to the end. We just want to get through this presentation to respect everyone's time. So we're gonna go ahead and continue with math skills.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sylvia, and I'm the FACE liaison for Edison. And so I'm gonna present on math skills. So counting, math is very important because we see numbers, since we're little, and we're gonna see them all throughout our whole life. We see numbers when we go to the store, when we're at work, everywhere. So it's very important. So we can start teaching our students or kids how to count to 10, and we can do that at home. We can do that when we're at the store, and we can always, even with their toys, let's count your toys and start from 1 to 10. And then let's say when they're playing and you want to also play with them and tell them, bring me 3 Barbies or bring me 3 of your toy cars and let's play with them and let's see if they know how many is 3 or 5. And you can start doing things like that so that they can start recognizing numbers. And then also sort similar items, so they can start sorting by colors. You can tell them to put together the blue toys and the red toys, and you can ask them, okay, how many blue toys do you have and how many red toys do you have? Also recognizing and creating groups, so they can put groups together, and also you can tell them to put the equal amount of groups. You can start with 2 and then moving up to 3 groups and 4 groups, so they can start recognizing. And also using comparative words when you pour a glass of juice for them, and you can put 2 cups, and you can start using words such as which one has more, which one has less. And then with other things, you can start also using longer, shorter, heavier, lighter, and things like that. Also the packet that we have, if you come pick it up to the school or if you got an email to you, it also has some of the things like the numbers with the shapes, and it has shapes, it has numbers with like little bees for the students to count, and also identifying the names and shapes. When you take a walk, when you go to the park, you can always tell them, what shape is this, and is this a triangle? Or when you're cooking, you can show them an orange, what shape is this? And you always anywhere, there's shapes everywhere, so you can always ask your students. And yeah, so that's everywhere. And also, if they play sports, if they're playing soccer or basketball, you can have them look around the court and identify shapes with them. So that is a great way for them to start identifying shapes, and that will really help them, and it will help them get ready for school, because that's something that they start introducing, numbers and shapes and different colors. So there's a lot of things you can do, and you can do them at school. You can do them at home, and when you go to the park, when you take a walk, they can always look at the shapes. Well, we'll continue with the presentation.
Hi everyone, my name is Daisy Cruz. I'm the face liaison at Roosevelt Walker Academy. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your time with us. I'm going to be reviewing the literacy skills component. So early literacy means helping children develop a rich vocabulary, self-expression, and reading comprehension. How do we do that? By having daily conversations. Parents, we ask open-ended questions. Instead of saying, hey, did you like your school? They get an answer, yes or no, right? So by having an open-ended question, you're able to say, like, how was your day? What did you do at school? What was your favorite part, right? So those are some of the open-ended questions that you can incorporate in your daily conversations. Those daily conversations, you can always have them after school or during dinner time, when you're in a family setting, getting to know each other. And you're also able to see if your child is speaking in complete and full sentences, if they speak clearly enough to be understood by others, your family members, if they're listening attentively in response to stories and books. And so also I wanted to bring in the 5 W's for the books, where it says, we answer the questions who, what, why, and where. And I wanted to touch bases because that has to do with the writing context as they grow older. So it's very important to ask those open-ended questions. Also reviewing beginning to review the letters, the uppercase and lower letters in their first name, last name. Challenge them by reviewing the letters of their parents' names, their siblings. Also beginning to recognize letters of the alphabet and their sounds. Other things that we can share here with you is that Miss Erica shared a photo of flashcards that we can purchase in the Dollar Tree store or even the 99-cent store that you can practice with your child and review those letters and sounds. That would be beneficial. Or you don't have to spend that much money. You can also create them at home with a sheet of paper. You can create your own flashcards. So these are tools that help students become successful readers and lifelong learners in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stacy. So on this slide, we're gonna go ahead and cover the bill schedule, or what a bill schedule for a TK/kinder student would look like. It might look a little different for different schools. Some schools might start a little earlier, some schools might end their day a little later, but this is a perfect example for you to become familiarized with the different types of activities and how it's divided throughout the classroom. It's also important for you to start preparing your student over the summer to maybe waking up on time, also preparing meals around the schedule that the school will have for the remainder of the year. Erica talked earlier about, creating habits and getting our students into a routine. So what I would recommend is that you either visit the school website where your student is enrolled, or that you contact the office directly to get a copy of the bell schedule.
And lastly, we should definitely stay connected, right? We have all you wonderful parents who are here today and took the time and invested it in learning more about how we can support our students when they come for the school year of 2022-23. And the best way to stay connected is definitely having your phone number and email available to the office staff. They do input all that information into Aries, and that is a way that we are able to mass communicate with all of you. You probably got a text or maybe an email about this workshop. And those are the ways that we want to be able to stay consistent communication with you all. And another way that the district is using this initiative to be in constant communication with our families and our community is through Parent Square. So we definitely recommend that you parents who are tech savvy really get to learn and navigate Parent Square, because it's a wonderful resource, not just to receive news or notifications or any alerts from the school, but also from the district. You can contact your administrators directly through messages. You can contact us directly through messages, and teachers. Of course, it's important to stay in constant communication with teachers, and they definitely is a big push to be utilizing these platforms. And also for our little ones, a lot of teachers love using Class Dojo, and it's a great way to obviously stay connected with our teachers and students, but also they show all the wonderful activities that the students are learning every day. I know a lot of my TK and preschool teachers, they love sending parents pictures of the day-to-day activities that their students are doing, because this is something that the parents want to see. These are milestones that the students are reaching. So definitely connect yourselves with your teacher to be on Parent Square, Class Dojo. And also we love to post and promote our schools on Facebook, Instagram. These are the great ways to communicate with our parents as well. I know that I personally communicate with some of our parents through Instagram messages, because that's the best way that they can reach me or reach, our teachers, and we can definitely make those connections. So please make sure that you have these on your phone prepared for the next academic school year, because we definitely want to be as connected as possible. We have so many resources and so much to share with you families, and we know that you guys can make really great use of these resources and great use of these communication tools.
All right, so this is actually, if you want to take out your phones, go ahead and scan this QR code. It's going to take you to our link tree, which is going to give you full access to not only the packets that we create, that we have available for you or made available for you, but also additional resources once your student is actually in kinder or TK. All right, so I'm going to give you a quick second to go ahead and scan that QR code. Now I'm going to go ahead and take you directly to that link. So if you see here, this is our link tree. This is where you'll find any upcoming workshops that we will be having in English or Spanish. So this is what we will be covering here today. So Kinder Readiness Parent Resource. I'm going to go ahead and open up that link. And these are the packets we printed out for you. Spanish, there's English. We also have a resources available. This document here, Kinder Readiness, is a great resource because it actually takes you directly to those links. So these are all linkable links that you can go ahead and look for additional resources. Okay, are you guys, am I pausing? I have bad internet connection right now. So this is our Kinder Readiness. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this link tree. And here, this is for when, or they're available to you right now, actually. So if you click on the Kinder Parent Resources, you're actually going to get a lot more resources. So you're going to get flashcards that you can go ahead and download, games that you can play with your students, additional links of online things that you can view, right? And we also have kind of the goals that students need to reach by the end of kinder. And high frequency words. So this is going to be a really great resource once your student starts kinder. And honestly, you can start downloading them now as well. If you want any of those resources printed for you, then go ahead and reach out to your FACE liaison.